We talk a lot about mental health, but there are relatively few solutions to help us overcome anxiety and depression and stress that doesn't really involve medication. So, in today's show, I am really excited to welcome International Emotional Freedom Technique, or EFT expert, author, and founder of the multi award winning business, Lorna. I'm sorry, I got to start this over again. Hold on one second. Hollinger. I know. I don't know what happened. Okay. Here we go. We talk a lot about mental health, but there are relatively few solutions to help us overcome anxiety, depression, and stress that don't really involve medication. So in today's show, I'm excited to welcome International Emotional Freedom Technique, or EFT expert, author, and founder of the multi-award winning business, Lorna Hollinger, to discuss EFT. Welcome, Lorna, to the New Mid.
Thank you, Michelle. It is wonderful to be here with you.
I know, we're like across the world. You're in Australia and I'm here in Maryland.
Correct.
The wonders of technique. So you'll hear her accent, which is fun. Yes. I love that. Before we dive into EFT, I have to say, I love the title of your book. Thank God he's gone.
Let's be kind though. Let's add the rest on. The Smart Woman's Guide to Getting Back Your Personal Power and Reclaiming Your Confidence.
I love it. I love it. So what inspired the book?
What inspired the book? Well, I guess the biggest inspiration was 2 divorces. I was silly enough to go and do it again. And while the title is, the title is very in your face, very sassy. And this artwork actually is an artwork in my home. My best friend Tanya painted it. It's amazing. The whole thing is, it's not a bashing men book at all. Because I gave birth to beautiful sons. I raised sons. I date beautiful men. Definitely not man bashing. So the book really came about because I am an EFT practitioner. I'm also an EFT trainer. I run the Australian Tapping Institute. So lots of contact with lots of women who are at that space of their world where the past relationships and the crap and the rubbish that they've brought from past relationships is still impacting today. So the book is really a story. While it's my story and a lot of it's about what I went through, the weaving in of it is how to take yourself out of where you are as a victim, if you are, out of the drama, out of the garbage, and out of that dialogue that us women run, into a place to go, thank God it's done. If men would have read the book, it would have said, thank God they've gone. But men won't read it. Men don't tend to read these books. So that was where it really came from. It was just, I had scoped the book out about 2013. It never got legs. I quit my corporate job last year. My business had taken off and went, right, this is the time to write the book because women need it.
Yes. Well, I love how it's empowering. And that is sort of the thread of who you are, because you started this Australian Tapping Institute, which is exciting. So can you talk to us a little bit about tapping, or EFT?
Absolutely. So my favorite line to ask people is, what do you do the minute we pick a baby up, particularly women? What do we do?
We pick them up and we tap their back, right?
Correct. Yeah. And we tap their bottoms, and we put them into their beds, and we pat them and we tap them. Instinctively, as humans, we know that rhythmic tapping on the body does something to calm. So if we trace back to ancient acupressure points, they're the same points of the body that tapping uses. So while we are talking or having some talk therapy about negative things that have happened, events that have happened, bad memories you've had, all sorts of things that have happened in your life, when you get that trigger, you know that little bzz in your energy system, something happens, someone beeps a car horn and you have that little jolt, that's your stress response in your body. So every single one of those memories, thoughts, bothersome things triggers that response in your body. So while you're having a thought that, God, he said such and such last week and it still annoys me, you do some tapping on that fact that that thing he said still annoys me, it calms the energy response, the stress response to what that person did or said or whatever. So it's about stopping that fight or flight response in the brain. We call it stress response, is an easy way to understand it. It's about having less of them during the day because you've worked on the stuff and the triggers from your past that are causing it today.
Okay, so is that kind of like you use talk therapy and tapping?
Absolutely. And we talk about the negative stuff as well.
Okay,
so go, oh, you talk about all the negative things that I've got going on. And the reason we do that is you're already thinking those thoughts anyway. Why bury them any longer?
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking them anyway. Bring them up. Let's process them. Let's take that emotional charge out of them. Then when you do think them, they're just a thought. They're just something that happened. There's no intensity to it.
Okay, I like that. So are there certain, so you brought up that the Chinese have found the certain meridian areas that work, and they use those for acupuncture, correct?
Correct. Acupuncture, acupressure is the same meridian points.
Okay, so why tapping and not do acupuncture?
One of the main reasons is tapping is your fingers. You've got it here. You don't have to book an appointment. You literally have it here. And when you go to an acupuncture, like I love my acupuncturist, she's just amazing. But when I go there, I have to consciously think about things that I want to release. Not everybody does that when they go to acupuncture. They go to acupuncture for the needles and the acupuncturist to do the work. Whereas if you do your tapping, you are going to actually be, so something happens at the office and your boss says this, you can just disappear for a couple of minutes and just do a couple of minutes of tapping. That thing that he said, and literally a couple of minutes will take the intensity out of that thing that just happened to you.
So really, it's like you're in control.
Totally in control. While I train practitioners around the world, I train EFT practitioners, and we do work with clients. The idea is it started as a self-help tool. It was never designed initially for practitioners. The reason you use a practitioner is sometimes we get to things and memories and events that are just too sticky to take ourselves into. The brain's locked it away for a reason. You go to a qualified practitioner, they're going to hold the space and hold you to the unpleasant memory and help you get past it. Because if you try to do that yourself, there's a good chance that suddenly everything else will become more important. You want to pick up your phone, oh God, let me go make a cup of tea, because the human body and brain is designed to keep you away from anything scary, upsetting, etc. So it will. So absolute self-help tool, start there.
Okay, so let's start. How does someone start? Where are the points that you use?
Fabulous. So I'm going to start you off with the simplest one. And the reason I'll do this is when we get off the call, not everybody will remember where all the points are. So super easy, flat hand up on your chest here, and you can just tap here. So the heel of my hand basically sits in the middle, and I just do that.
Is it right by the collarbone? For those
it's exactly the collarbone, but rather than trying to find it with two fingers or trying to figure out the exact spot, if I get my clients to just do that, then they're never going to get it wrong.
Okay.
If you're in the moment, something's happening in the moment, 3 words is all you need. I am safe.
Okay, so you say that at the same time you're tapping.
Correct. I am safe, I am safe, I am safe. This is if you're triggered in the moment by something.
Okay.
Or if safety is not feeling the right thing, I am okay, or I am fine. Something to just affirm, I'm actually okay here. I'm actually okay here.
Okay, this actually, while we're doing this, I have to say, makes me feel like I'm tapping the back of a baby.
Yeah, it does.
It does. I really think it feels that way. I know for those of you who are listening on the podcast and not watching it on the YouTube channel, I'm tapping, I'm using my hand to tap right below my left collarbone. And that's where a baby I would hold. And that's where I would tap a baby. It's really soothing.
Yeah, it is. It's so incredible. And that's why I give everyone that simple spot, because people will remember that. You can stick your hand under a scarf. You can stick your hand under a jacket. You can kind of Whereas if you're tapping on your face, if you're on the bus because someone's annoying you, people are going to look at you. Not everyone wants to look a little bit kooky out in public, but the flat hand on the chest, like right up near the collarbone, nobody pays attention to it. It looks like you're tapping to music.
Right.
Nobody pays any attention to you, but you're actually self-soothing. You're actually calming your own body down from something that's triggered you.
Okay. So you talk about the face. So where are the points on the face? And it's the top of your head, you were saying as well?
So some people start the eyebrow, top of the head. It does not matter which one you start with, but it's right up on the fontanelle. Remember where our babies' heads were open when we birthed them? It's right up on that point on the crown. And you tap, 5-6 times on each one. There's no hard signs. The other one's here where your eyebrow, so from between your eyes, head across to the beginning of the hair of your eyebrow. And it's on that point, not in the third eye in the middle, but yeah, where the hair starts.
So is that one finger or 3 fingers, or does it matter?
Probably 1 or 2 fingers you're going to get there. You can do both hands. You can do either hand.
Okay. Right now, if you are just listening and not watching, we are both tapping our foreheads, our heads.
Both tapping on our eyebrows and looking totally kooky about it, and we're all good. The next one is on the side of the eye. Let me turn my face. So it's here. It's level with the eye, and you're kind of looking for bony bits if that's helpful for people. So
okay. Does this help crow's feet?
If only.
It's literally right where your crow's feet are, ladies. Just tap those.
If you had crow's feet. Not that we have crow's feet. The next one is down sort of just under the eye. So it's kind of on the little bit of the bony bit towards the cheek, heading in towards your nose a wee bit. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep. And the next one's under the nose.
Okay, this will make my nose itch, actually.
The next one is on the chin, but it's actually the crease underneath the lip. So it's not on the end of the chin. It's in the crease line.
Okay. All right. I like that.
Yep.
Okay.
And again, then we come back to the collarbone. And the collarbone you can do with your fingers. I said, I just find flat hand it's easier for people to access because there's 2 meridians run down the front of the body, and you'll just find them both if you're flat hand. The last one is under the arm. So for us gals, it's kind of a couple of inches below your armpit. We're at top of our bra line, maybe. It's the easiest way to explain it.
Okay.
So these are the points of the body that we use.
Are these all of the Chinese meridian areas? I mean,
meridians, obviously the Chinese acupuncture have loads more. They're just the ones that we use in tapping.
Okay. Do you also use the karate chop?
Yes, we do. So that's usually where we kind of do the setup statement. So if you were working on your own stuff or even with a practitioner, even though I have this anxiety, I deeply and completely accept myself. And we do that 3 times, even though, and again, you're swapping hands, it doesn't matter. So it's the affirming, even though I've got this problem, I'm still okay. That's literally what it is. Even though I have this problem, I deeply and completely accept myself.
And so every time you're tapping, you're saying that. Do you say it out loud or just to yourself?
I think it's beneficial if you can say it out loud. Now, if I go and do tapping just on myself, I will often miss the karate chop point. I just tend to go into the tapping on my face. If I'm working with a client, I definitely do the 3 times on the karate chop point. And do the same. Even though I have this problem, deep and completely accept myself. And then the rest is just the points.
So are there a specific number of taps that you have to do, or just until you feel like, okay, I need to switch? Like, do you need to do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'll switch, or is there a right or wrong method?
There's not really. So if you're doing the points like we talked about from the top of the head round to the armpit, you'll tap 5 or 6 times at each point. Okay. You don't want to be having a whole essay. It's just a little couple of words at each point and move to the next one. Keep focused on the same issue though.
Okay.
So if you start off with, he said, don't suddenly start talking about Mary down the road and then, that cup of coffee. Stick with one thing and get it down to the intensities not felt in your body before you move on. Otherwise, you're just scattering way too much about way too many things. You won't get the results.
So if you go through your whole cycle and you can still feel tense, do you do it again until it's gone?
So what I would recommend is I would say maybe do 2 rounds, and a round is from the top of the head to the underarm. So 1 round, 2 rounds, and then check back in. Okay, how intense does this feel? So if it's, he said that thing to me, how intense does that feel? It's still a 6 or a 7. Okay, what is it about the thing he said? Is it a word? Am I angry? Am I upset? Do I feel disrespected? Am I embarrassed? So maybe it's a different word you need.
Okay.
And it may be, I'm upset that he spoke to me that way. I feel disrespected. And then do another 1 or 2 rounds with that word, check back in with the body.
Okay. So it really has to correlate with what you want to release.
Yeah, it does.
So
it does.
if something happens where you're depressed, that it sounds like a lot of what we're talking about is anger, which, wow, how great to have something to release the anger. But if you're depressed and you might not know why you're in that funk, just how would you express that and then do the tapping?
So if I work with someone and they're just in a bit of a funk and they just don't know what it is, if they're working on themselves at home, I would literally have them just do, I'm in a funk and I don't know what it's all about. I don't feel myself today. I don't know what's going on for me. I would literally just have them sit and just tap on what's coming into their head.
That's fantastic.
And just see what pops up, because it's really curious. When you start to listen to what your body and your mind tells you, it actually tells you.
Mm-hmm.
So when we do tapping as a practitioner, we do a lot of body work. So someone will come and they may say, okay, I've got depression. Okay, where does that feel in your body? What does it manifest in your body? And most people will either have a jaw and throat, can't speak their words, chest gets tight, feel constricted, or their stomach does belly flips. Most people have one of those 3. So if you get tuned into your body, it will tell you. So if I'm just in a funk, what, and it maybe it's your throat, why are you in a funk? And sit and listen and hear what it says.
Right.
And it will start to talk to you. Our philosophy is the body will tell you everything. The body does not lie. The mind and the mouth does, but your body doesn't lie. It will tell you what the emotions are.
Well, we're made of energy. We're made up,
Absolutely.
our whole body is made up of all of this energy. And so
Correct.
It's getting in tune. So maybe you don't have a specific thing, and maybe you're not feeling super anxious or stressed, but do you recommend doing tapping just as a regular practice, like stretching? Absolutely. Or something
I do it as a positive.
Okay.
I do a positive reinforcement day. I might have nothing that's going on that's really bothering me, and I will just do, you know what, today is going to be the best day. It is just going to be the best day. Anything comes my way, I'm going to be able to handle it. It's just going to be the best day. And just to really affirm to me and my body, it's going to be freaking awesome today. Because I
love that. I love starting that way. You know, having Absolutely. Those affirmations. What a great way to start the day.
You do not need to just use tapping for negative and clearing. It can get done for the positive. We use it for manifesting stuff. Like we teach our students about manifesting. You want to manifest amazing things into your life? What are the things that are blocking you from having what you want? What's the dialogue in your head? What are you telling yourself? Well, I really want that, but oh no, I can't have that, don't deserve it, can't afford, whatever. Get rid of those blocks and then start going. I will have what I want. I will have whatever I want. It's coming to me, it's mine, and it's on the way.
That's powerful.
It is.
Because we do have blocked energy. And it doesn't have to necessarily show up as stress or anxiety or depression. It can just be blocked energy.
Correct.
Like you said, I'm in a funk.
Yeah, and it may be really subtle for people, particularly on certain days. The funk may feel really subtle. It's not something that impacts their life that they can't function. It's just a little something that's not feeling the way they'd like it to be.
This is power. You know, it's funny. I have to say, we were supposed to do this interview yesterday, but my little one had an issue going on. And you immediately texted me and said, gave me instructions on how to do the patting and calm her down. And it really worked. So this could be great for children.
It is great for children because quite often children, even younger children, they can't articulate the way an adult does. They may really only be able to know 3 or 4 emotions. I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm angry. Like depending on the child, they may not have a range of emotions. But imagine getting your kids home from school and getting them to just do some tapping with you. You do the tapping and get them to just follow along and make it into a game. All the little thoughts going on in their own little head from what's gone on at school kind of just gets cleared out without them even having to think about it. Your mind knows when it needs to clear. Our brains are supercomputers.
What I like about that is my kids, well, my oldest is in middle school. She'll be going into 8th grade, and my little one is going to be going into middle school. Middle school is really tough. And, kids, it's just, we just know junior high is tricky. So I was talking to my oldest about tapping the karate chop underneath the desk to calm herself when she's in class, because sometimes I think these kids can have a lot of anxiety. So they could do the tapping for themselves, kind of doing the self-soothing.
Yeah, I work with a young ice skating girl. She's a very up-and-coming figure skater here in Sydney. And I went to work with her, and Mum brought me in to work on her figure skating, like just before she does a jump, something runs through the head and the jump doesn't go. We were doing that. She then went to do her senior exams, and she comes back and she goes, guess what? I wasn't stressed and anxious at my exams. So the exam stuff was a byproduct of her working on tapping at the ice rink that we've been doing.
Can you imagine? The thing I love about this is thinking about these kids when they're in midlife, like we are, they're going to have these tools to hopefully not have the same, anxiety and baggage that we have, a negative voice. That's really powerful. How did you find tapping? And then you made an institute of it all. Oh my gosh.
So I had decided I'd be a life coach. I was NLP trained. I had a thriving life coaching practice here in Sydney. And a girl I'd gone to college with used to go, you need to look at this tapping thing. And I'd go, oh, you've got to be kidding me. Looked on a few YouTube videos, did this and thought, oh, yeah, absolutely. And it wasn't until I went to visit her for the weekend. So I was a captive audience. And she goes, right, I need you to feel this. Stop thinking. I'll lead and feel it. And I can't even remember the issue she worked on me, but the shift was so profound. It was like, this is it. I can take this to my own clients, and the stuff we work on as a life coach with talk therapy, next we've got some tool to shift this stuff. So that started me on the EFT journey. I'm going to introduce to my clients. I'm going to get certified, accredited. How do I do that? How do I sort it out? A couple of years later, my marriage is falling apart. What am I going to do? And I started to look for a practitioner to work with, and I couldn't find them. So I couldn't find anyone that was sort of had the skill set I wanted and was sort of certified where I would want them. So I think, well, if I can't find them, neither can other people. How do I grow my own? And that was literally the birthplace of the Institute. It started off here at my dining room table. We all laughed on the day and went, well, Apple started in a shed and Nike started in someone's garage or something. And so we laughed about the beginning of it, and it just started to evolve from there. And I'm a geek. So by 2018, I had put the training online, so to give me global reach. So it's not just sitting in a Zoom room for 3 days. It's a platform with dedicated videos and lessons and mentoring and all the rest of it. And it just kind of kept growing from there. And then I get excited about stuff, and someone will go, oh, I can't really figure this out. Let me write a module on that. Let me create a training on that. Let's solve that problem. And it just kind of grew from there. So yeah, I did. I have a training institute now that I just love. I've got a team of, I think there's 6 other people behind the scenes. I'm just trying to think who they are. There's 6 of them behind the scenes helping me run it. And yeah, it's just exciting. And then I get to be mama bear because I get to watch these other people come out of my school and you go and see them on Instagram and Facebook, and you just see them rocking the world and changing people's lives. And it just gets so exciting.
That's amazing. Well, it's interesting that you were skeptical about it in the beginning, because I think there are a lot of people skeptical about this. Does it really work? Is it a placebo? So what do you say to your earlier self and other people who think it might not really work?
I bring them back to the baby. There are very few babies that get tapped and patted that don't calm down. There is a lot of science and a lot of research being done here in Australia. We've got a fabulous researcher up north. She has access to MRI machines. So she has people go through before, afters, and during, and starts to map brain functions and the red bits and the yellow bits. That's my whole science head going there. And so they write a lot of research papers on the efficiency of it and what it does. And they got it into veterans areas. A lot of my girls here are working with children with ADHD and all of those sorts of learning and cognitive stuff. So the research is coming through hard and fast. The research can be found, but it's in the fact that you can work with someone and just physically watch the shifts and the changes with them. If I can take someone, an agoraphobic mum who has not been out of the house for 3 or 4 months, she was, by 45 minutes, I've got her out on the footpath on the phone with me, tapping as we went every step of the way towards there. I had another girl who'd been beaten up the day before, and she was could not hold that cognitive conversation with her, tapping just enough to bring down that intensity for her without even words, that she could actually start to have a conversation about it, actually start to figure out some solutions. What does she do now, rather than that in that heightened, hyperactive stress response of something that was so terrible for her.
It sounds to me like the science just has to catch up.
It does. I said the science has been coming. I said there's fabulous researchers in America. There's a few in Australia, and they just keep plugging away and doing research studies. They've got access to people. They've got access to the university. They've got access to all of that stuff. And it is the science is there. Can someone tell me exactly what it does to the body? No. But can someone tell us what acupuncture does to the body? Probably not. Can we tell about a lot of stuff? Probably not. But the evidence is in the body's response.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That is wonderful.
Yeah, when someone can think about an attack, women who have been attacked and they are no longer feeling that way, that's a good thing.
It's a really good thing.
Yeah.
So if someone's listening to this and they're like, I don't know if I really want to do this, I don't know if I really want to try it, what do you say to them?
What have you got to lose? If I'm going to give you a tool for free that you don't have to pay for at all, and you can just sit in your own space and tap on your own body in private and just check it out, what have you got to lose? I'm not asking you to go and see somebody. I'm not asking you to make an appointment. You're literally going to sit with your own body and tap on it and see what your body does.
You know what? I have to say, watching you, I think I've seen people do it and maybe not even realize it, but I've seen people tap themselves.
Yeah.
In maybe stressful or in like big groups. So there really is something to it. And I have enjoyed this conversation so much. So how can people find you?
AustralianTappingInstitute.com.au. There is a little link up there in my website. So if people want to be practitioners and learn from me all over the world, it's global, you can train with us. There's also a couple of free courses on there as well. So if you head to the website, you'll look for the Self-Love Project. It's a 4-module EFT tapping. You basically put your details in, it gives you all of it, meditations, a workbook, and 4 little videos. I want to turn down that critic in your head that says you can't, you can't, you can't. We want to give the cheerleader in your head a bit of a try. And this is what that little 4-module course does. It's not very long. Each video is like 3 or 4, 5 minutes. Introduce tapping to you, feel the effects of it.
Thank you so much, Lorna. This has been wonderful.
I'm so glad we finally got to do this and finally got to meet.
I know. Oh my gosh. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and enjoy Australia.
I will. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for having me, Michelle.